What's up, everybody? Welcome to another YouTube Hangout. Super excited to be here with you guys again today. I have a special guest, a new friend. He's got a podcast. You should check it out. It's called The Premium Pete Show. And he asked to do an interview with me for his podcast. And I said, yes, let's do it, Pete. And I said, why don't we turn it into a video as well? So Pete's not always in front of the camera, so this is a good experience for him too. And we're going to talk entrepreneurship. So Pete, maybe just a super quick intro for my audience, and then over to you, man, however you normally run your show.
I go by the name of Premium Pete. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. I call myself a true Yorker, not a New Yorker, a true Yorker. I'm there before all the gentrification, all the almond milk, and all the pumpernickel bagels, you know. But more importantly, just growing up in New York was such a melting pot. So I'm a person that's very diversified, love hip-hop, love sneakers, you know, love flashy stuff, you know what I mean? Love just everything that glittered. I was able to grow up and you know, eventually get into sneakers, become, you know, work in footwear, become friends with different celebrities, you know, joined the podcast world. Early on in hip hop, podcasts have been around a long time, but I was able to join early on into hip hop and sat down with, I mean, everybody from Chuck D to LL Cool J to J. Cole to Ice-T, you know, and more, and just young entrepreneurs. And now I'm sitting down with people from all walks of life, all walks, meaning like artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, and, you know, just a bunch of stuff. But just a kid that really just has my hand in a bunch of things. I have a food blog with me and Bun B from the UGK. You know, he's a rapper out of Houston, legendary, Trill OG, we call him. You know, just I have my hands in a bunch of things, you know, trying to be like Mr. Carmichael, you know.
All right. All right. Well, this is your show, man. However you normally run it, whatever questions you have, take it away.
Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to address you as internets because that's how we address people. So internets, welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. I am honored and pleased to be joined by the one and only Evan Carmichael. Mr. Carmichael, thanks for being here, or thanks for just being on the line.
I love it, man. Premium Pete, let's do it.
Listen, first and foremost, you're an entrepreneur, but you're more than that. But what does an entrepreneur? What does an entrepreneur mean to you? Like, you know, I feel like that word is thrown around so much these days. What is it?
You know, I don't get too caught up in definitions. I know some people get really upset, like, you're not an entrepreneur. Don't call yourself an entrepreneur. For me, it's just people who have that vision. They have an idea. They see a change that they want to make in the world, and they go out and they start to do it. They take some kind of action on it. So it's not just dreaming and thinking and, you know, hoping and wishing one day, and then you see somebody else kind of make millions of dollars off of, you know, your idea, but taking some kind of action on it, whether it's whether you're full-time, whether you're part-time, whether you're like just trying to get started. I think if you have that vision to want to go and create a business, you're an entrepreneur.
Sure. What is the best advice that you ever got, and who, if you don't mind telling?
The best advice is the one that I keep getting over and over and over and over again from the videos I put up on my channel, which is you got to do the thing you love. It's the single most important piece and most consistent piece of advice that comes from all the people that we've studied is you got to do the work that you love. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a rapper, whether you're an athlete, like you got to love the thing that you're doing if you ever want to be great at it. If you're walking around going to work with this boulder on your shoulder feeling like, man, I can't believe I have to go back and do this thing that I hate, like you're never going to have success doing work that you hate. It comes from doing the work that you're passionate about. Sure.
I mean, doing what you love and turning your dreams into reality is a very special thing that not many people are able to do. You know, and in this day and age, I feel like socially, everybody wants like a check. How important is it to attach yourself to something that has growth, but not maybe a big check?
So I think if you want to have success in business, you have to combine two things. The thing that you love to do with what there's a need for in the marketplace, right? So if you love doing something, but nobody loves it with you, you just got a hobby, right? Like you keep doing it, great. You got a hobby, you got something you love, but if it's not adding value to other people, you just got a hobby. If all you're doing is then just trying to please the market and you don't love it, you know, like you open up Inc. magazine and it's the hottest 500 startups of this year is to start a podcast or start a YouTube channel. Sure. If you don't love podcasting or YouTube, you're going to fail too, because the people who love that stuff, they're going to crush you. And so it's combining those things, the things that you love doing with what there's a need for. If you make that happen, you start making money.
You know, a lot of people, you know, when I talk to all different friends, you know, a lot of people don't find their, you know, what they want to do until like their mid-20s. You know, you personally have found your true passion at a young age. My question is, how?
I think you just get it by exploring and by saying yes to things. You know, you don't find it by sitting on the couch dreaming and thinking. Like, you got to go out and actually say yes and do things. You know, it's like trying to dream up the perfect woman. Like, you got to go out and date. You got to see. You got to try. You got, right? You don't know until you're out there. And so just saying yes to opportunities. I think we'll all have moments in our lives where we will not have clarity, where we don't know what the next step is, where we're uncertain, we're unclear. And to figure it out, you got to just go out and try and say yes. But when you find something that you love, it may not be the thing you do for the next 50 years. Like Premium Pete Show may not be a podcast in 20 years. Maybe you're doing virtual reality or some other, you know, new crazy inventions. But like, while you have that ability, well, there's a window. You got to go all in on that window. And so for me, I found it luckily early on. I still love helping entrepreneurs. Maybe you got a little entrepreneur in the behind you there too.
He's not letting me be great today. He's not letting me be great. You know,
it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, let me 1 second. We'll have to cut this. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Now, well, man, you're not gonna let me be great today. 1 second. I apologize.
No worries, dude. No worries. I have an 8-year-old.
Yeah, Thursday. I have a 17-year-old and a 2-year-old. So it's like a wide gap. Yeah. I mean, I'm learning a lot. You know, it's and I learned a lot, so to speak. You know, if you don't mind, just give me 1 second. I apologize.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Parenthood and being an entrepreneur. I think it's the first time this happened on a live stream. I like it. I like the spontaneity. You never know what's going to happen. I've had Timo interrupt my live streams. I feel like I've had Hayden interrupt my live streams sometimes, where he's just come on board and like popped his head out. But I don't think when he was a baby. I don't think I was doing YouTube when he was a baby. No, I wasn't. He's 8 years old. So I wasn't. So what do you do when chaos hits? Chaos strikes. Let's look at the live chat. Jay Rise, welcome aboard. Sherry, good morning. Vic, it's real Bud. Thank you, Vic. Zeno, hello, y'all. I see I got here at the perfect time. If you just arrived, Zeno, we were having a good interview, and Premium Pete's 2-year-old kind of is having a crisis moment, so he'll be back shortly. But how are you guys doing? If you have a question, let me know. We'll pop it on. Live Q&A. I did my first Q&A stream this morning, 11 a.m. I'm trying to do that consistently every day at 11. He's back.
Man, I apologize. First off, thank you for understanding. Fellow parent, that's what we do. And I always preach presence over presence. So meaning like, you know, my daughter's 17 years old. I think I bought her about 300 Barbie dolls. She doesn't remember any of them. I'm like, you don't remember the mermaid one or the special edition one? She's like, no, but she remembers every time I took her to a movie and I saved the movie ticket all these years. And it's those moments. And that's why I preach. It's like presence over presence is something I learned when I was a young father. Yeah. Immature that no gift can ever be better than the presence in your kid's life. And I'm going to quote Jay-Z on a song, Watch the Throne, the album, him and Kanye. There's a song called New Day. And he says, sins of a father make your life 10 times harder. And I don't ever want to be that father.
Nice.
So anyway, back to what I was saying. First of all, what's your thoughts on Shark Tank?
I like Shark Tank. I mean, I think it's entertainment as well as entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. But I think anything that's out there that is encouraging people to learn about entrepreneurship is a good thing. I mean, you're seeing the investment side of the business, and you see Kevin O'Leary, who's a fellow Canadian. You know, he's not a typical investor. Like, these are not your typical angel investors. If you're going to go and pitch deals, you're not going to, you know, get yelled at and told that somebody's going to squash you like a bug and that you're a cockroach. And, you know, like, that's not how the world of investing works. But a lot of the questions they ask are really good, because for most people, like I think of when I first started my business, I had no idea what investors look for. And so I think anything that promotes entrepreneurship is good. And so I'm a fan of the show. It's been great to see how many seasons that it's gone on for. And I mean, what you're doing is great. What YouTubers are doing is great. Anything that helps kind of promote awareness around it. Because when I started growing up, and you could probably relate to it too, like there was nothing. There was no content.
Sure.
There was, you know, there was nothing on TV. There's nothing in the papers, newspapers. We read newspapers.
Sure.
You know, like that didn't exist. Entrepreneurship.
I'm sorry.
No, like entrepreneurship wasn't a thing.
Sure.
Like none of my friends wanted to be entrepreneurs growing up. And I think
believe in it. I feel like some people still to this day, I think maybe friends you grow up with, they can't see your growth because they don't believe in something that isn't like concrete already. Instead of believing that someone could make it possible, and then you could believe in it, instead of having to make other people make it possible for you to believe.
Sure.
I'll give you an example. Doing podcasting for, I think I'm maybe 8-9 years in. I go to festivals. People say, "Hey, Premium Pete, can I take a picture with you?" And that took a while to understand and listen, because you're like, who am I really? I'm not like this big celebrity. But the point I'm trying to make is, I was in a mall with my friends I grew up with, and somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, aren't you Premium Pete?" They were literally like, "Get out of it, man. Why would he want to take a picture with you? Who the hell are you?" So the point I'm making is that people, I feel like, even DJing, there's older parents or older people who don't believe in the craft is you can make a lot of money from it because they don't know people who have, do you agree with that? Like, meaning like some people look for show and prove before they actually jump into something.
100%. Like the people who were starting to be entrepreneurs 20 years ago, they were the like, I had to be an entrepreneur. They were the OG. They were the ones who really, really needed to do this. Where now, I think everybody should try, though. Like, you may not be built for it. It may not be the thing you want to do, but I think it's good to have it on the awareness, because me growing up, I did a lot of things. I had the baseball cards. I had, the lemonade stands. I had all that stuff growing up, but I still thought I wanted to be a banker. You look at my high school yearbook, like, where are you going to be in 10 years? Banker, VP at a bank. Just because it wasn't part of the culture. My parents were entrepreneurs. I never learned about entrepreneurship in school. It just wasn't on my radar anywhere. And I luckily met a group of 2 entrepreneurs at a university, and I joined them in their business as a test. And that's how I got exposed to the world of entrepreneurship. Now it's everywhere. Now it's in, you see YouTube stars taking off. You see Shark Tank. And I think in some respect, it makes it look too easy. It makes it like, oh, look how easy it is to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to be a YouTube star or podcast star. But I think it's better that we have that awareness than what we had 20 years ago. I think it's good that it's on people's radar, because I think entrepreneurs will solve all the world's major problems.
Go ahead. Good. What do you say? We're not
just like, we can't rely on the government to solve our problems, right? Or big corporations to solve our problems. It's going to be the entrepreneurs. So the more people who are trying it and getting into it and getting the taste, doesn't mean everybody's going to win at it, but we're going to up the odds of solving those problems.
What do you credit? Like, I think back on the parent talk versus entrepreneur, was your father giving you certain books to read, or did you have an uncle that you were inspired by? Like, do you credit having information around you to be, an entrepreneur like yourself?
For me, growing up, I had some pieces. I was fortunate that my parents always supported whatever I wanted to do. They didn't push me down a career path. They didn't tell me I need to be a lawyer just because my mom's a lawyer. In my office, I have a picture of my parents and me when I'm 8 years old behind me on the wall. And it's a reminder, because they always told me I was Evan Chris Carmichael, do anything that I want. I believe comes from them. And I had some moments, I remember for the baseball card stuff, that's how I cut my teeth in negotiating. I was 12, 13 years old. My parents would drive me, an hour out of the city to go to different card shows. And I'm negotiating with people 40, 50 years old over a dime, for a card, right? It's like, who's this kid? But that dime meant a lot to me.
For a Dave Winfield card.
Dave Winfield. Hey, he was a Blue Jay and a Yankee. So we share in on that.
Big fan of Dave Winfield. When I was growing up, I played baseball. My number was 31.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if he wore 31 on Toronto. I never paid attention to him once he left New York. I was very upset.
He was only here for 1 year, but he had a big impact. Just like that's how Dave does. But so I was fortunate that my parents let me do whatever I wanted, and they saw I was interested in baseball cards, and I think it's important as a parent to try to help your kids find their own path. And so they knew nothing about baseball cards, right? Like they didn't care about baseball cards, but they saw I had an interest, so they would drive me an hour out of town on weekends to go do the different card shows. But still, like I thought I wanted to be a banker because it just wasn't around me enough. I think the more you have exposure to different ideas, like if you're listening to the Premium Pete show, you're going to get some ideas about entrepreneurship. Sure. Much more than like what I wish I grew up with the Premium Pete show. Like where was that when I was young? I mean, I
wish I grew up with an Evan Carmichael show. Listen, for people listening that don't know, am I allowed to curse or anything, or is that no good?
Your show, man. You do what you want.
No, well, I don't have to curse. It's all good. For people who don't know, what is a venture capitalist? For people listening that may not know what that is.
Okay, so this is when you're looking for money. Like I have this idea, I want to build a company, I need money. And the two stages, you're going to have angel investors. These are wealthy individuals like you see on Shark Tank. It's Mark Cuban, it's Kevin O'Leary. It's a lot of times it's dentists, doctors, lawyers, just people with extra cash and they want to invest, right? Like Jay-Z invests in the companies, Kanye invests in the companies. They're angel investors. The next step up from that is a fund. And it's basically they'll raise $100 million, $500 million. They'll create a fund. And then they have people manage that fund, and they're looking for investments to put some money into. So usually when you're getting growth as a company, you don't go right to a VC. Usually you'll start with an angel investor who'll give you a little less money and hopefully some guidance, some coaching. Like you get Kanye on board, he's going to give you some introductions. You know, he's going to open some doors for you, and then you move up to VC when you're looking at, hey, I need $10 million to help really scale this business.
Sure. Hey, listen, social media is a gift and a curse, especially on YouTube. Some of the comments, I mean, if you ever, YouTube comments, sometimes they want to roast your dead grandmother or your dead uncle, but sometimes it's good. What is the most important thing you learned about people from comments on YouTube or, just like the feedback they're giving you? Is it all positive, you say?
So it's not all positive. I think when you're first getting started on any kind of social, as you start building up your presence, you're going to get people who hate on you. It just happens. Like any artist puts out a song, they're going to get hate. Like the more you're in the public eye in any genre, you're going to get fans, you're going to get people who hate on you. And the hate is more a reflection of themselves than anything else. Like if you have a positive message and you're preaching it, if I'm preaching believe in yourself and somebody's like, that's the stupidest thing ever. It's like, I'm just preaching love, man. If you don't like it, sure, that's fine. Go somewhere else, right? Yeah. I love the comments. A lot of the videos that I make on my channel are based off of comments, right? Like people say, you got to make a Jay-Z video. Great, I'll make a Jay-Z video. Your boy Isaiah said that he loved the Nipsey Hussle video.
Yep. Shouts to Nipsey Hussle.
Right, like that came out from the comments. We were like, hey, you got to have Nipsey on your channel. Like, great, let's see what he has to say. He's got some pearls of wisdom, and so we made a video. And so, your audience can give you a lot of good feedback. It's just not taking it personally. If somebody slams you for your point of view or how you look or what you're wearing, I think for anybody who starts becoming a face for their business or their art, you also need to develop a thick skin. And like any of these guys that you have on, Charlemagne the God, like he gets crushed all the time in social. But he has powerful opinions and he has tons of love as well. Mm-hmm. And if you just get caught up in all the negativity that people like lower down than you in terms of, aspirations and what they're looking to try to accomplish, then you're getting stuck on their level. So a lot of these people have gone on and they took their shot at something, right? I call these people the little man. Like they took a shot at something and it didn't work. And so now nobody else can have success. And so they see somebody being successful and they got to pull that person down instead of going out and like, you don't like that person? Who cares? Like, go do your thing.
Exactly.
Go do something great on your own. But they tried, it didn't work. And so now nobody around them can have success. So they're bitter for the rest of their lives. And so like, why are you concerned with that person's opinion?
Sure. Well, I forgot who said it. It may even be T-Dot's own Drake. I think he said that we could get 1,000 great comments and we'll only pay attention to that one bad comment, and never look at that 1,000 great comments like, oh wow, no, that one comment will ruin your whole day, or not ruin your day, but kind of like put you off track, And that's a shame because we should start looking at the good things that people are saying and not what the bad things that people are saying, because you know, in this day and age, I feel like what you do and what a lot of YouTube stars and entrepreneurs do, you know, it take a faith and you jump and you take a leap of faith. You know, there's people who cannot do this. There's people who can't deal with people. You know, I want to give you a quick example. There's this my sister's friend, they have a daughter, she's 10 years old, and she loves cooking. And I told her, like, you should do an Instagram and put your pictures up. You know, you like to bake cupcakes and stuff. I seen her about a couple, she was doing it. It was great. I loved it. I was liking her pictures. I was posting it from my brand, You Gotta Eat This. It's a food blog, food page. All of a sudden, I seen her about a month later. Her mother says, oh, she got rid of the page. I'm like, why? Turns out she liked one of her own pics. Her friend screenshotted it and says, oh my God, this girl liked her own pic. How crazy is this? She got so offended, deleted her whole page. Now, she's young, but what I'm trying to say is think about that. Somebody made fun of somebody just by saying, you know, you liked your own pic, you know, and literally deleted your whole account. There's a lot of people that don't have the courage, you know, to face, you know, put themselves out there like that. What would you say is some of the most important things that made you build thick skin, made you take that, you know, leap of faith to just get out there?
So I think this is where, you know, parenting can also come into it, because if you shelter your kids from any kind of adversity and negativity, you think you're doing the right thing. You're like, it's out of love. Like, you don't want to see your kids get hurt or be insulted, but it's also part of their growth, because like when they get into the real world, if they've had 16, 18, 20 years of just being coddled, then they're going to have a hard time, because the world will not coddle them.
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of amazing things out there in the world, but there's also a lot of brutal feedback that you're going to get. I think the things that help me the most comes down to the environment. So by me surrounding myself, like I'm making research, I'm doing videos every day. We do 3 videos a day on the channel of all these famous entrepreneurs and athletes and rappers and singers. And I
gotta stop you one second. How many videos have you done in total? That's something I want to ask you. How many have you done in total?
We've published over 4,000. There's another 1,000 plus that are not published, that like are just dropped on the cutting room floor.
Okay. I had, that's a big number, man.
Big number. Yeah, listen, I told you, when you have a window, you got to jump through it with all your might, man. This is my time. I got to go crush, because it's not going to be around forever. When you have the clarity to know what you need to do, you got to push as hard as you can while that window is still open. So for me, like, my moment is YouTube right now. But in being around all these people talking about success, and it's success from all walks of life, right? It's not just entrepreneurs, it's everywhere.
Sure.
Being able to take feedback and not be offended by negativity is another consistent message. And so if I see Kanye talking about that, and I see Jay-Z talking about that, and I see Steve Jobs talking about that, and I'm seeing that every day, all of these successful people feeling the same way, using different words, like Kanye doesn't say it the same way that Bill Gates says it, but they have the same message, right? Then it starts to seep in. It's like, you know what? I feel hurt by that comment, but I remember the words that Kanye said, and so I'm gonna get through it. And so surrounding yourself with success is super important.
You know, you sat down with and studied with, I mean, so many great businessmen, businesswomen, entrepreneurs. Who is one person that you feel that, you know, just doesn't get the recognition they deserve out there? Like flies under the radar or something, you know?
So the difference, I would say Kanye, but he doesn't fly under the radar. But I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves.
You haven't met Kanye?
I haven't met Kanye. I want to have Kanye on the show, because I feel like he's been done a disservice in most of the interviews that he's done. One of my first top 10s was on Kanye. He was like my first top 10, because a buddy of mine did a blog post talking about Ye and the whole Taylor Swift thing. It's like, dude, it's like how many years later are we still talking about this? Like, there's nothing better to talk about than. So the guy did that move. Like, I'm sure it's not his proudest moment, but I think so many times people only see the negativity that Kanye brings, and he is such a vocal guy, and he may not always express his thoughts the way he wants to, when it ends up, you know, backfiring on him. But at the same time, he's done, like, the dude's a genius, and he's done so many great things in multiple fields. And so the first video that I made was Kanye's top 10, almost as like a take this to my friend, to say, like, watch this video, because this guy is not just the guy who stood up with Taylor Swift. You know, John Legend, You think of John Legend is like the nicest guy ever in the world, like couldn't harm anybody. Who gave him the name Legend? It came from Kanye. Like it's John Stevens. And Kanye said, like, you're old school. Like, you got that voice. Like, you should call yourself the Legend. And John Legend is like, not the Legend. How am I going to call myself a legend? And Kanye's like, no, man, you are a legend. Like, you need to own that name. And so now he calls himself John Legend. And who would think, like, John Legend and Kanye would be friends? But, like, he really cares about his friends. He's inspiring other people. And so he definitely doesn't fly under the radar. But I don't think he gets enough credit. And that actually inspired the start of my top 10 series.
Nice. I like that. Hey, listen, what is your most underrated business technique? This is a two-part question because we're going to go to the most overrated. But let's start with the most underrated business technique.
I think the most underrated is consistency. Just every day getting up and doing the boring work of doing the work. We're always looking for a shortcut. We're always looking for like, hey, if this person mentions me, I'm going to start taking off. Where like you need to do the work. Like if you want to have success on YouTube, you need to make tons of videos. The quantity also leads to the quality. Like the more you do, the better you get at it. You want to have a successful podcast, you got to be doing it. Like you can't do it for 3 months and then say I tried it, it didn't work. Like it's not enough time. And it's the boring. Every quarter I look at my stats and how I'm doing. I'm trying to think, okay, how do I make this go faster? How do I make this go better? And you're always looking for some new strategy. And it always comes down to I just need to make more content. It's got to be better content. I need to do it more consistently. And so that's how I went from like 1 video a week to 2 videos a week to 1 a day to 2 a day to 3 a day. It's where we're at now. 5,000 videos later.
You're at 3 a day now?
3 a day.
Is it hard with your schedule, just your daily schedule, to maintain?
Of course it's hard.
YouTube, man. Like YouTube in general, just comments, uploading.
Yes. Everything important is hard, dude. Everything is podcasting hard.
Of course.
If you want to be good at it, is sneakers hard? If you want to be good at it, like is rapping hard? If you want to be good, everything is hard. If you want to be the best at something, right? If you want to really be top level, it's hard. You got to put in the work, but you don't see it as you're not complaining. Like the people who are the best, Jerry Seinfeld calls it the torture that you can enjoy. Right? Like it's torture. If I looked at your schedule and said, man, Premium Pete, dude, I don't know how you're doing all that. Like I couldn't do that. It's torture, dude. Like how are you putting all that work? But to you, it's what you do. It's what you love, talking to people, making awesome content. Other people would step into my schedule and say, that's just insanity. You try stepping into Kobe's schedule and doing all that practice, if you can do it, right? It's just, so you have to be able to put an insane amount of work into whatever it is that you want to do. That's why your first question, right? What's the most important rule? You got to have the passion. Like you got to love doing it because otherwise it feels like work. What
would you say was overrated? If you want to give somebody a business technique that you consider is overrated.
Money. People blame money. People blame they need an investor. They need financing. They need somebody else's money. And they don't do anything. Like until I get an investor, I'm going to go out and do this thing. And then they just sit on their idea because they never get their investor. Where if you look at the world's most successful people, look at how they started. It's like it's often with nothing. Like the people who've had the most success, look at your idols, look at the people you look up to, look at how they started. They started with less than what you already have right now. And the difference is they didn't complain, they just went after it. And too many people are just complaining and saying, I don't have the money to do it.
Who's some people that you never thought would be a fan? Or would watch your work that you found out is a fan and has watched your work?
One of the first was 50 Cent. We made a video on him and he shouted it out and put it on his blog and his Facebook and shared it. Floyd Mayweather was another one. We've had, billionaires like Ray Dalio share his content and like want to be involved in some of the production. I never reached out to these people for 50. I never reached out. Oh, he's back. He's back. The 2-year-old is back.
Man. He's got to make an appearance. Dude,
he's going to be the next podcaster, man. He's an attention seeker.
Hold on. You just won't let me be great today.
The guilt. You just won't let me be great today. Hey, what do we have? We got lots of comments here. We got questions. Sherry, do you use any automated service for social media, like setting up tweets at certain times? Sometimes. Sometimes I do. For like
Say hello to Evan. Hold on.
What's up?
Hold on. Yes. Yes. Say hello. Say hello to Evan.
What's up, man? Look at that.
You see, his hair is a mess. Say hello to Evan.
What's on the shirt?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice. Nice.
Okay. I know this has got to be one of your most different.
Eventful.
Interviews.
I love it, dude. Listen, I love it. I love it.
1 second. I know you're probably running out of time. I just want to get my bottle right.
Do it. Go. Do it, man.
Want milk? Okay. Come on.
I want some milk too. I got my coffee. Has 2 milk.
Come on. Here's your bottle. Let's go.
So for the social media stuff, a lot of the stuff is evergreen. Like if we take a quote from the book, we'll do that once a day, and that's scheduled. And we just look at the stats, which one does the best, and then we do that again in 3 months or a year later. But for the other stuff, it's like if you see me on there, you know, yesterday I was at the gym and Nina was on the bike, and I did a quick video of her on the bike. That stuff is live. So I do a mix. You know, probably half the content is scheduled out using, we use our WordPress blog. We have a hidden WordPress blog, and then that auto posts to the different networks at certain times. For the YouTube videos, everything is scheduled to come out at certain times. I think it's 7 a.m., noon, and 8 p.m. Eastern. And then the other stuff I do live impromptu during the day. So the mix, I think, really helps. My team does all the automated stuff, and I take care of the kind of live stuff. He's coming back.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna write a report about you, and because I know it's totally different from what you ever dealt with, and I apologize.
Hey, I love it, man, dude. No need to apologize for taking care of your son, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, you know, unfortunately, it's funny because I was trying to pick the same day that I could have a free schedule, and then Thursday came. Unfortunately, sometimes, you know, things don't.
Things happen.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the world of entrepreneurship. It's hard, right?
You know, I will say that. And I don't think this is. I don't think he's.
If you need to bounce, dude, and go take care of that, it's awesome. No worries.
Yeah, I just don't want to keep you on hold. I just want to give me 1 more second. That's it. And then if that's the case, then we'll move on from it. Hold on.
All right. I feel bad for him, man.
You just won't let me be great.
I feel bad for him. That sucks. I've had fire alarms go off in the middle of. I had one not even that long ago. I had a fire alarm go off while I was doing a live stream with Stephen Kelly, the CEO of Sage. I'm like, oh man, come on, really? And as the fire alarm was going off, I muted my microphone, and luckily Stephen was answering a question. I'm like, Stephen, just keep talking. Just keep talking, Stephen. Just keep talking, man. Save me while this is happening. And luckily, he went on this long story, which was amazing. And then the fire alarm finished, and he came back. I want to
tell you how technical this kid is. He's crying. He's crying because his iPad stopped working.
Oh, there you go.
Think about when we were growing up. You know. I want to ask you this off topic for a second. We live in a world that socially is so much, you know, technology is amazing, but people aren't really social. You know, people, you know, like I'm from the, I want to say I'm from the old school in the sense of I like getting on a phone call with somebody, doing a deal, get on the phone and talking to them or meeting them and going. People want to do things through email. People don't want to meet up. People don't want face-to-face. Honestly, I don't want to sound old because I'm still young.
You're getting there, man. Grumpy Grandpa Premium Pete over here.
Do you think that's a problem that people don't like face-to-face learn how to communicate and negotiate deals and et cetera? Do you think it's a problem or no?
I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's just that's how this generation is coming up, using technology. You know, will they get hit in the face if they have to actually go do a job interview and it's somebody like you got to meet them in person? Sure. But I think we also have a lot more connections. Like I love social media. I'm able to reach out to a Ray Dalio on Twitter and get a reply. Like, here's a billionaire. Like people are listening to us via YouTube and leaving comments along in the chat. You know, I don't know. I mean, I have a son. He's 8 years old. He uses an iPad. He checks in on
Are
videos.
you married?
We try to. Yeah.
And how hard is that to be married and be, like not only an entrepreneur, but be focused,
It's hard, dude.
fully
Everything
committed.
is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard.
I say this. I love sitting with you right now, and I really appreciate just your mindset and patience, because people don't see the behind the scenes shit. On Instagram, on Twitter, we put things out there. I don't put a picture of I'm all mad. I wait to get the best picture. My daughter takes 17 pictures before she gets the best one. The point I'm making is, like, literally I went to a meeting with a bunch of entrepreneurs, a bunch of big podcast people that were excited to have me there. An hour before that, I was changing diapers. You know what I mean? I literally almost ran late because I had to bring my son to the babysitter. And on the way out, he went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to make is, like, people don't see, and I don't mean only, diapers and kids. People don't see the hustle, the legwork it takes behind the scenes and how hard it is, Do you think that's, like, I'm not saying you or me, but do you think that could be for false advertisement for, like, people wanting to be entrepreneurs, people wanting to get into this business and thinking that it's sweet and, hey, I want to be Evan Carmichael, and it just happened?
Sure. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people see just the bottles and the planes and, the fake pictures and the Instagram as a highlight reel of somebody's life, and you compare it to your ordinary life, right? Your everyday life, and you feel not worthy. I think that's very real. I think it's on, like, whenever there's a problem, I think, how do I help solve that? Right? Like, what am I doing to fix that problem instead of just complaining about it? What I do is through my videos. In my videos, you will never hear me say, "Oh, that's the easiest thing ever." Like, no problem. You're going to do that, and boom, you got a private jet. I don't go off showing off people's, mansions and Ferraris and all that stuff. Count how many times we've had the message hard work in my videos. Like, it's over and over and over and over and over again. And so I'm just trying to do my part. Like, if somebody comes and is complaining that they're working hard and they're not getting results and they've been doing this for 2 months, it's like, that's nothing. Like, this is nothing. Like, having a live stream and having you have to go take care of your kid, that's like, that doesn't really, this is the highlight of my day, man. Like, I got 18 problems waiting for me when I get back. Like, there's nothing.
You got to put the fire out.
That. Like, you can't deal with that tiny fire. Like, you're going to be screwed as an entrepreneur. And so, like, that's part of the journey, right? And you don't just get there. I think it's a muscle. You tighten it, you build it.
Sure.
As a kid, you have no, like, what's your biggest worry? Studying for school, asking that girl out on a date. Like, that's easy life. And then you just add more layers of difficulty onto your life. And you have to be able to thrive in that kind of environment, right? Chaos is part of the process.
How important, or you think unimportant, is sleep?
I like sleep. I mean, I think people put too much of an emphasis on the whole debate around sleep, because it's not about whether you sleep 6 to 8 hours. It's what you do in everything else. Like, that extra 2 hours, what are you doing while you're awake? It's not so much what you're doing, in that extra hour in the morning. So I'm usually around 7 hours, 7.5 hours, somewhere in there. Sometimes a little less. If I go 2 days of like 5 hours sleep, though, I shut down. I can handle one crazy day, but not two. But who cares? Like, so if I sleep 8 hours, what am I doing the other 16? If I compare my 16 to your 16, and not you, Premium Pete, but like some of the people complaining, like, I'm out hustling you, right? And that's what everybody's doing, the Kobe's and the MJs and all the people that you look up to. I think too many people default to, okay, to make this happen, I have to wake up 2 hours earlier and get all this stuff done. And maybe your body can't handle it. And then you're tired the whole day and you're going to, be screwed. But rather, I'd really like to audit how you're spending the 16 hours that you are awake and how much time is actually productive versus you being on Facebook and wasting your time doing unimportant things.
Is my camera not there, or?
Yeah, you just cut out.
Okay. I don't know why my camera's not there.
It's all good, dude. This is hard.
Hey, listen. A couple more questions, and I don't want to hold you, long. Like I said, unfortunately, it's not as smooth as I expected it to go, but unfortunately, that is life.
That is life. That is business. I think I got time for one more because I got to hop onto another call.
Yeah, no problem. I guess my last thing I'll say is, what can you learn from fear?
From fear, I think all of your greatest moments will come on the other side of fear. I think if you succumb to fear, I'm not of the school of there is no fear. You know, there's fear and that fear is real. But if you can get through the fear, then that's where all the magic is going to happen. If you can't break through the fear, then you're stuck doing a limited life constantly. And so the way that I get through it is through regret. If there's something that I really feel like I would regret not doing, like I want to take that action, I want to start that business, I want to ask that girl out, I want to launch this new product, whatever it is, like you really want to do it. As soon as anytime you want to do something big, there's always going to be a healthy dose of fear that comes alongside it. It doesn't exist. If you're not scared, then it's not big enough. And so what I try to do is make the future fear of regret so big. Like I imagine the next 50 years of my life, I'm going to regret not talking to Premium Pete on his podcast. I'm going to regret that. I'm going to regret if I said no, I would have regret that.
When you come to New York, are you in New York a lot or no?
On and off. My agent's
in New York. Or just
the
sixth side. You're in the sixth side. Hey, listen.
So so any big project will come with fear. And so if you make the fear of regret, like imagine yourself 80 on your deathbed looking back, that you regretted not taking action. And I just make that fear so big that it is way bigger than the immediate fear of doing whatever it is that you have to do. I think if you can get to that point, then that's when you start realizing really great things in your life.
Sure. Hey, listen, I truly appreciate you taking the time to deal with the ups and downs of this broadcast here, dealing with my son going crazy and crying and making sure that his YouTube Kids channel is not working. By the way, YouTube Kids is amazing. I love the format. It's simple and just easy for the kids. I wish they had that when my daughter was young. But I honestly want to say, from following you and being made aware about you from multiple different people, I really appreciate just how informational you are and how you continue to spread the information to the culture and to the youth and people that want it. Because I'll be honest with you, like you said before, growing up, I didn't have any people who, where I grew up, where we're giving information for people to succeed. They were just giving people information, that maybe was crash and burn type information. So I really, really appreciate all your contributions, not only just to what you do, but to the culture and the people who really appreciate it,
Thanks a lot, Premium Pete. Anytime, man.
Listen, Evan Carmichael, appreciate you. Have a great day, my man.
Cheers.
All right, ciao.